Berlin has always been a melting pot. A lot of different cultures are here. But Berlin also has a rich history. And if we look at the cultural side, Berghain definitely has been a staple of the nightlife here. Let's look back at the history of Berghain, but also at the opening times of Berlin. This all starts in 1949, 4 years after the Second World War ended. In 1949, Berlin was split up in two sides, the western side and the eastern side, as we all know. The western side was split up in three zones. You had the American sector, you had the British sector and the French sector. But after 4 years of curfews, people were quite done with it. There was a hotel owner, Heinz Sellemeyer, and he made his case that it would be good for the economy to stop the curfews, and there was a bit of competition going on. Because in the western side, everything had to close at 9, and in the eastern side, everything had to close at 10 p.m. So at first, the western side changed to 10 p.m., and then the eastern side would go to 11 p.m. And this went on for quite a while. However, at one point, Heinz met up with the commandant of the American sector, General Frank Hawley. He made the case that, hey, we need the hours to make our bread. Mayhem only comes when the bartender has to say closing time. There was a vote about ending the curfew, and they voted 2-1. Only the British didn't want to end the curfew back then. But since then, basically, there is no ending time in Berlin anymore for the opening times. And we currently still see that here in Berlin. Berghain opens from Saturday night up until Monday. Sisyphus, for example, opens from Friday up until Monday. Now we go to the fall of the wall, because this is quite an important beginning also for how Berlin continued. There were two club promoters, Michael Teufele and Norbert Thormann. They were already throwing SNAX parties at different kinds of clubs in the city. However, at 1998, they got their own place. This place was called Ostgut. Fun fact, Ostgut is still the record label from Berghain, but in 1998 they got their own place. And they sort of built the club from there, because they first had one layer, and a bit later they used the second layer for Panorama Bar. So Panorama Bar was also created before Berghain. With the snack parties, which was focused on mostly the gay community, with Ostgut they brought two worlds together, namely the gay community, but also just the rave techno scene. Ostgut really prioritized itself for local DJs. And here we can already see, for example, the start of the career of Marcel Detman, who is still playing at Berghain from time to time. During the Ostgut era, the club Laboratory run in the same place. Laboratory is really for the gay community and has really quite extreme parties going on, with the focus on sexual activities that were maybe a little bit too extreme for the mainstream crowd that was going to Ostgut. In 2003, sadly, it was the end of Ostgut. The Berlin government had its sight on the old railway zone for the construction of a new sport arena. On January 4th, 2003, it was the last party of Ostgut, and then it almost took 2 years to find a new place. Gladly in the same neighborhood, but basically at the other side of the railway, there was this old industry power plant that was owned by Vattenfall. And in 2004, the owners Teufele and Thormann opened Berghain in the former power plant, a location that of course would become legendary as we know it today. Berghain took its name from the two districts that was surrounding Berghain, namely Kreuzberg and Friedrichshain. And it's really something special because it of course has the high ceilings, its industrial look, and the concrete floors with a massive good sound system. Berghain is more than just a club. It's a temple of freedom, techno, kinkiness and sex. And again they focused on local talent, with the names of Marcel Detman and Ben Klok. They really shaped the sound of techno in Berlin. Berghain is of course also known for its strict door policy. I already made quite some videos about that, so please check them out if you want to. Berghain basically thought of the Ostgut schedule as well. In the highest floor you have Panorama Bar, then you have Berghain itself, which is in the main room of Berghain, and then in the basement you got Laboratory. In 2016, Berghain won a case, and from that day on, Berghain got classified as a cultural institution. With the income that the techno scenes make, and by 2016 this was 1.5 billion euros, you can see why Berghain wanted to have this status as being part of the cultural situation in Berlin. Berghain's story overall is just one big transformation, going from the SNAX parties all the way in 1992, then to Ostgut, where there was not even a street address, towards Berghain, where we are now. Berghain is probably the most well-known and most extravagant techno club in the world. In the heart of Berlin, there is a club so legendary it becomes a rite of passage for techno lovers and kinky people around the world. Known for its insanely good techno, notorious door policy with Sven, and a freedom like nowhere else. This isn't just a night out, as a night out would also just put it really short. It's an experience. Welcome to Berghain, where the night never ends and the music is a way of life. I hope you liked the video. Thank you very much for watching. Leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and then there is nothing else to say than big hug, much love, and then I see you in the next one. Ciao ciao.